Hi everyone, welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I am Liza and tonight we are hosting our monthly free paint party. And for our paint party this month, we are doing our um, versions of this painting here, which is one I did, which I really love. So it's this really beautiful, colorful, nighttime, Aurora-esque type painting. And I will walk you through how to recreate this. You are more than welcome to, and highly encouraged, to take your own spin on it. So if you want to change up any of the elements, if you want to like add a UFO or make different types of trees or have a different type of animal or no animal or whatever you want, you're more than welcome and encouraged to do so. If you are painting along with me, whether you're doing this live with me now or whether you're doing it in the future, watching it elsewhere, please take a picture of your creation and share it with me because I love to see what you've put together. It's always fun to see how everyone does like their own spin on things. And it's always fun to share with everyone. So we'll get started at just after 6:30, just to make sure anyone who would like to join has the opportunity to do so. If you are joining tonight, the supplies you'll need are, you'll need a canvas. I'm actually going to be doing a smaller version. So this one's on a 16 by 20, and I'm going to be doing this one, which is a 12 by 16. So I'm going to be doing it on this one instead. And just a regular stretch canvas. I have a couple different paintbrush sizes. I recommend you get something that's very large to do a lot of covering over the entire painting, a medium brush so that you can get some more detail, and then like a fine if you so desire. The fine will come in handy when we're doing some of the little swoops and the more detailed strokes in this painting. There's not like as much detail in this. It's more it's like fun colors and whatnot. As you're coming on, please let me know where you're watching from and let me know, just say hi. It's always nice to see hi, say hi. I will keep an eye on the comments. Just taking a look now. Okay, cool. So yeah, if there's anything, let me know. I'm here live from Ajax, Ontario, which is just outside of Toronto. And like I said, we'll get started in just a few moments. Okay, great. So yeah, oh, and then let me continue on with the supply list. That would be useful. Okay, and then in terms of paints, I'm using acrylic paints. I suggest you have at least black, white, blue, yellow, and red. From those colors, we can make any colors you want. So from there, we can make other colors. I do, however, have a turquoise. I also suggested in the thing to have turquoise and pink just to make our lives a little bit easier. Just have them ready and pre-mix. And I find the turquoise really hard to like mix on my own, and I really love that like brilliance of it. So that particular one that I'm using is literally just called turquoise, and it's from Deco Art, Crafters Acrylic from the Dollarama. And then the pink that you see on here is called Tutti Frutti, also from Crafters Acrylic. So that's just if you want to be specific on those colors that I'm using. Everything else is pretty much what you see, what you get. I do use this one, Artist Loft, which is like flow acrylic, and it's just called the name of its color essentially. So the blue is just blue, and so forth. So that's the paint that I'll be using. I also have paper towels, so that's ready to go. And I have some water containers just so I have some backup. I don't like to have just one water container when we're using acrylic paint and going through this process. And a palette, of course. I just noticed in the comments, Patty's asking if we're starting with a black canvas. I'm actually not going to be starting with a black canvas. However, if you are, like if you already have a black canvas, that's totally fine, and you will just have to modify it slightly, but we're not. What we're actually going to do, which I kind of really enjoy doing it, which is maybe unnecessary, but I liked it, is we're going to actually do like a wash. So if you see like on the side of my canvas, I don't know if you can really see because the colors are kind of off, but it's like very light pink. So I'm actually going to do like a wash. So just like a wash, meaning like quite a bit of water into my acrylic paint. So it almost becomes like watercolor. And then I'm going to start with that, with a very like light pink. And then I'm going to build from there. And the reason for that is with the paint that I use quite cheap paint, and the paint doesn't always show up very well if I try to paint it on black. The white's not too bad, but I wanted to start with just like a color on the canvas and then doing the Aurora and then adding just the black where I wanted it to be. So that was my process for doing this. If you are starting with a black canvas, that's totally fine too. You'll just be starting with the Aurora and blending that out, and that will work out just fine too, especially if you're using a little bit fancier paints than I am. Or, I mean, still like the cheaper paints, I find the white usually like is pretty good. The colors I have the most issues with on like the cheaper side are like the purples and the reds. I find they're always really, really runny on me. But white and like yellows, like they seem to be pretty decent. So I feel like you won't have an issue at all if it's starting with a dark canvas. Hey, Vicky. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Kelly. Fantastic. I'm glad you're all joining. Amazing. So like I said, we'll just get started in a couple of minutes. Just want to make sure anyone who's painting along in the moment has the opportunity to join and get their supplies ready. And if you aren't able to, this video will be available on my Facebook page under the videos tab and also on my YouTube channel. I'll be cross-posting there after this video is done. My YouTube channel is the same at Lisa's Painting Parties. So feel free to follow me there, follow me on my Facebook page. I also have an Instagram account, but that's more just to like let you know when new events are happening. But yeah, so check those out. There's like tons of videos on YouTube and on the Facebook page. There's over 100, so if you enjoy the style of the way I explain things, or if you like the paintings that I've done, or a combination of those, feel free to check that out. Also, if anyone is in Ontario or close to the Greater Toronto area, I do have a couple of events coming up nearby, so I'll just run through those briefly if anyone is interested. I will be putting those up on the page just so that everyone can take a look and digest the content as they so desire. So there is one coming up near the end of March. I think it's on like the Thursday at the end of March, on the 27th, I believe, at a winery in Orono, Ontario. So it will be a painting and wine night with the option of adding a charcuterie box as well. So that will be an event. So I'll post all the details, excuse me, on the page in a little bit. There's also another event that's going to be in Toronto at the White Rabbit, which is a cannabis shop on April 20th. So that will also be shared in a little bit. And there's a few other things in the works as well. So as more things pop up, I'm really excited to be doing some more in-person events and offering them to everyone. So it would be great to let you all know about it so you can come out and see me in person. Okay. Oh, no worries, Vicky. Oh, and thanks for replying. That's also the thing too. So if anyone hasn't joined us, so I did notice that. So Sharon, you asked about that. I'm going to start with a white canvas. So that's what I'm starting with. I'm starting with a white canvas. So you do not have to have a black canvas to start. However, if you do, it's totally fine, and we'll just talk about that momentarily. Yeah, absolutely, Larry. This will be a repeat. Will be available ongoing. No plans to take you down. Awesome. Okay, great. So it is just at 6:30 right now. I'm going to give it a little bit more in case anyone else wants to jump on while we're painting live. And then we will go from there. So yeah, if you have any comments, any questions, pop them in the chat. As I'm painting, I will every once in a while double check to see if there's anything that's going on in there, and I'll answer. As for anyone who's joined me before, I like to run these as kind of like book club-esque, which is like we are all reading the same book, so this is what we're going to be painting, but everyone has their own interpretation of it, and everyone is welcome to share whatever they'd like to share and help with their expertise in the chat. So if someone has a question and someone else can answer it, please feel free and comfortable doing so. We want to like help each other because even though I've been doing this, like there are so many experts out there that you know so much more than I do. So feel free to like help and share tips and tricks and all of that is fantastic. Okay, so oh, that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So so all my paint parties, when I have the time, I try to be clear about that when I post it. But that has happened. Because I do have people, I noticed someone is joining from Australia today, which is amazing. And it means you're like totally like, it's like 12 hours or like it's the morning there, I'm assuming. Um, so yeah, so that definitely switches things up because there are people who join us from all over the place, which is super fun. It looks like a smaller group tonight, which is cool. So again, feel free to comment as you so desire. And we'll go from there. And every month, so on the first Monday, oh my goodness, first Wednesday night of every month, we'll do a live paint party. So I've scheduled out all the events like virtually for the rest of the year. So they're all on the page, so you can take a look at that. And they're all at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time as of right now. Okay, coolio. All right. Yeah, we have someone from Boston. Yay. Hi, Nicole, you're new. Welcome. So excited to have you. And Debbie's from Thunder Bay. Awesome. Okay, so let's start. My hair is up, which means we're getting started. Okay, I'm going to move this painting over, and I will move the camera as well in a moment. So you don't need to see me. Okay, so we'll do it like that. We're not going to really be able to have the painting in full view as we go, but I will grab it every once in a while. Okay, so for anyone who missed at the start, what I'm going to start with is a white canvas. I'm actually doing a smaller canvas this time, but that's neither here nor there. It's fine. I'm going to start with actually a wash, and the wash is going to be in like a very light pink. So what I mean by that is I'm going to use, this time I am going to use straight up pink. So this one's 2D Fruity from Crafters Acrylic. And I'm going to be using quite a bit of water with my largest brush to like wet it down. And then I'm going to be applying it to the entire canvas just to make it like that like kind of light pink instead. And for me, I just like to start with like paint on canvas, and then we're going to go from there. And the reason why I'm not starting with black is because sometimes my paints don't show up very well on the black. So I'm doing it that way so I can control it a little bit more in terms of the colors I want to see pop out. So that's what we're going to do first, and then we'll talk through each step as we go. And if you don't have pink, you can mix your red and your white together to get a pink that you so desire. And I'm using these because they're cheap, not because I'm not sponsored by any of them, nor do I like think this is the best thing in the world. This is just like what I have available to me at a price that meets my budget. Okay, so I have like paint on the canvas. I basically got my huge brush. I dunk it in the water, and then I'm adding like tons. Ooh, maybe like that. Oh, I'm scared of like it dripping all over the place, but of water to it. And then I'm just gonna start like applying it onto the canvas. And again, this is just the way I'm doing it. It's not like the way to do it. It's not like if you want to do it a different way, you're more than welcome to. And you can share it in the comments if you're like, you know what, I want to do this, or I have a totally different way that I think is going to work better, or something I want to try. Like, feel free to do so. So I'm just going to go and get this on. And I'm not worrying, like I just want to get it on the canvas. So it doesn't really matter like the strokes you're using. I still tend to go like wide. I'm trying not to have it splash onto the other painting on the side actually as I go. Normally if that painting wasn't there, I would be like a lot more splishy splashy with my brush, to be honest. But that looks like a big chunk of paint, which happens with cheap paint. On that note, if anyone has any hookups to get sponsored by paint, I'm totally down for that. But I am using, like I said, the stuff I find usually at the dollar store or like the cheaper things that I can find. They're just accessible. It's not really necessary to do down here because we are going to be, it's going to be like a lot of black down here too, but just for consistency, I'm doing it. I am dipping in water as I'm going too. So like when I put the paint on here, sometimes like that area was a little bit too dark for me. So then I just added a bit more water to my paintbrush and I came back on top of it. So I'm going to do that again. Just add more water to my paintbrush. Okay, nice. So everything is covered. Maybe I should do the bottom too. Okay, nice. All right, nice and pink and pretty. Hi, Lonnie from Maine. Yay. Awesome. All right, so now that we have that going, I am going to, am I going to retire this brush? I think I might. So depending on the size canvas that you're using, if you're using like a larger one, you might still want to stick with your bigger brush. I think I am going to go down a size. The next thing I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to do the Aurora. I'm going to jump right in and start to do the colors of the Aurora. And what I'm going to start, so like on this finished painting, you'll see a lot of like detailed, very, like, I don't know, prominent, but like very defined is the better word, I guess, strokes, right? So you have like a very defined like pink line or blue line. I don't want you to worry about that when we start. When we start to do the Aurora, our goal is to get like a nice blend from one color to the next color. And then we're going to be adding some of the streaks. Some of those are going to happen naturally as we're doing that first layer, and that's totally fine. But if you're not getting that, it's okay. And I'll talk through how I'm doing it, and then we'll go through that step by step. We are going to start in the middle. So I'm going to start with like a white and then a yellow. Is going to be next. Then we'll get our pink. There's purple. There's like a darker blue, and then there's a turquoise on both sides. So if you want, you can start putting some paint on your canvas of these colors. So white, yellow, pink, purple, dark blue, and turquoise. However, purple, if you don't have purple, when you mix that pink and the blue together, you'll get a nice purple. Same with like, there's a bit of an orangey that's happening here. That's also mixed with like either my yellow and my red, or the yellow and the pink can create a really nice color too. So those are the middle values that we don't worry too much. So we'll start with that. So I'm going to start putting some paint on my canvas. I'm going to use my white paint on the canvas. Try and keep in mind that I'm using a smaller canvas. I don't need as much paint. Okay, have some yellow. I have my pink. I think I'm still going to put a bit of red on the canvas too. And I'll show you like, sorry, on the palette too. And I'll show you like how much of each I'm putting on. So right now I just have like a dollop of white, the red and the yellow. And then my blue. That's going to be a little bit too much, but that's okay. And then the turquoisey one that I have. Okay, so then I have that darker like royal blue and the turquoisey color. So that's the amount of paint more or less that we have on the palette. But again, it really depends on like what size palette, what canvas you're using. All right. Hi, Adriana. Oh, no worries. Again, I think, I'm not 100%, but I think in the live record you can rewind for my understanding. And if you miss anything, the video will be available as well. So, all good. Okay, which paintbrush am I using? Medium size. Which one? Do I like this one? Pick the one that speaks to you. I think this is the one I'm going to go with. I'm not fully convinced. I might start with it and then I might switch. That's fine. So, this brush, it's fully dry right now. This is a number 6 for those who like to know specifics. And I'm going to dip it into my white, get a good amount of white paint on it. And this is just going to start that process. So I want my Aurora to essentially be like the most prominent thing on the canvas. It's okay if it's not exactly the same. It can always change shape and I want it to be a curve, right? So I'm going to start it here, and I'm just going to make like a nice, almost like a J on my canvas. Okay, and that's going to be my like stroke line, essentially. Okay, so I'm just going to continue with the white. And also, if you notice on here, it does start a little thinner at the top, and it gets a bit wider at the bottom. So I'm going to try to keep that going too, but again, it's not like the worst either way, right? I do want it to be a little bit thicker at the bottom, and I'm just doing white right now on top of that pink glow that we put on first. Okay, so I have white. I'm going to now, with the same brush, without cleaning it, I'm getting yellow on my brush, and I'm going to add yellow, let's get some more, on both sides. I feel like I might have went a little bit too low. Bring that up more. And as I do that, I'm going to go kind of constantly like on top of the yellow. And as I have on top of that, I'm going to kind of bring it in slightly into the white. There we go. Okay. And I want to go over the white again, but I'm just getting the paper towel to clear off some of that yellow from my brush. And now I'm just going to go over the white area a little bit more. Again, without clearing off my brush in the water. I don't really use the water too much. So now we have this big beam of yellow light. Oh, my lighting's really bad. Okay. Hopefully you can still see it okay. All right, from here, I'm going to grab my pink. And I'm going to do the same thing. We'll do one side first, and then we'll go to the other side. I'm going to use my Tutti Frutti pink. Okay, and just go all the way down. I am doing it fairly quickly because I don't want the paint to dry before I can blend it and mix it in. So I want you to let go a little bit of your control and go with the feeling of the paintbrush and blend it a little faster, especially when you're putting on the one straight color there. Okay. The next thing you're going to do, so what I'm doing right now, is I am still using the same brush, and again, I have not cleaned it in water. And I'm going back and grabbing some more yellow, and I'm just adding some more little lines and streaks in here to blend out the pink. And you know what? I'm going to get white and do it again in here. So I'm losing it a little bit of the white. Okay, and again, my paper towel is my best friend. I use paper towel for like everything. Okay, I'm going to go back to the pink, put some more little lines in, and that's almost giving me a bit of an orangey glow happening right now, which is nice. And then we'll do the other side in a similar way. Okay, so again, first we start with pink. I'll bring it all the way down. Get more pink. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and grab some yellow. I'm just going to add it to like the line where the pink meets the yellow. Now, a few things I'm noticing is that like my paint's drying quite fast. So when we do the blending, that's why I need to go back and forth a little bit between the colors I've already put on the canvas and the one that I'm adding, just so I can get a blend happening, because otherwise it's not going to blend. Once the paint dries, you can't blend it. It works good for like when we put our streaks in, but not so much more trying to like get a little bit of a blend going on. Which again, when we put our streaks in, it's gonna cover up some of the straight lines that we have going on. Okay. Okay. Let's add some more pink. I'm going to add a little more pink. I mean, you can decide how you want to do it. I'm feeling like I'm getting a little bit close to the edge here. But I do want to get a little bit more, because then I want to get a purple, and I'm going to do that by adding some of my blue. Here. Go back to my pink. So blend that in a little bit more pink. Okay, now the trick though is I'm using the paper towel a lot because the blue, I don't want the blue on my brush to get into the other areas. So now I just cleaned off my brush a bit, and I'm just going back into that yellow just to soften this area a bit because it got a little bit into there. I don't want that to happen. Okay, I'm going to go back to my pink and add a little bit more in here. Okay, let's get the blue. If you have purple, you could do the purple first, and then you can do this blue. It's up to you. Just want to make this a little wider here. Okay. Rainbow Bright Lake. Okay, I'm going to get my turquoise, and now start putting that in. And then I'll go to the other side afterwards. I want this to still stay wet. Let me get more of the dark blue, put that on top here. Okay, so I think that is going nicely so far. Okay, and then let's go back on the other side. I'm gonna have to go back and add some more pink because this is definitely not wet any longer. Okay, so let's get the blue. Okay, and I'm just going slightly over it, lightly going over the edge of the pink. So it's kind of creating a little bit of purple blend. And then we have the blue. And then we're going to wipe that off a smidge to get the turquoise in. blend it. I guess I should have been wrapping them around a little bit on the edge too, but that's alright. Okay, let's put a little bit more of the darker blue in here. Okay. I think I want it. There we go. Okay, so now we have the blend happening like that. I think at this point I'm going to get my black to start building that in, and then I'm going to go back and then put some more defined strokes on my Aurora. Okay, so now I think I'm still going to use this brush for now. I'm going to start just putting in my black. I'm just going to cut it. It is going to blend in a little bit to the back, but I don't want my black to infiltrate too far into my Aurora. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to fill in this area, all in black. That's when the drama happens and it starts looking really pretty. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about the back there because we'll deal with that afterwards. Okay, so now I want to, oh, a lot of paint on this paper. Just going to get rid of the black mostly. Yeah, I am going to fully get, I shouldn't say fully. It's okay if it's still a little like dirty. I'm not going to try to clean it fully, but, and I'm going to get the turquoise and I want to start like dirtying up this edge a bit. So I'm getting the paint on my brush. And then I'm using like, the brush almost has like an edge point when I hold it on the side like that. So it becomes like a lot thinner. So instead of like going like that, which gives me a lot of like coverage, I'm using it on its edge. So I can get these little wispy kind of strokes happening. And when I do that, it's blending into the black a little bit. And it's just like messing up the line a little bit, just so it would be a little bit like hazy. So it's not this like very solid line, because I don't want it to be like a super solid line that's cutting one thing off from the other. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And again, the paint, actually this one dried pretty darn quickly. I do want it to have a little bit of black. I'm just going to add a little bit of black paint and do the opposite. Okay. Because it dried already. So let me grab the turquoise again. Now that I added a little bit of wet black paint. There we go. Just like mess it up a little bit. Ah, that's fine. Yeah. It can be like streaming a bit. That's pretty. That's working. So I'll a little bit closer. So it's kind of just like a little bit messy on the side there. That's how I have it. Hi Debbie. Yeah, so the large bottle of paint isn't from the dollar store. It's from an art store called Michael's, but it's also the cheapest paint that they have. So this one's called Artist Loft. And it comes like, this is a 1 quart or almost a liter of paint. And I think it was like $6 or something when I bought it. Granted, I know inflation's now like crazy, so I don't know how much it is now. But at the time, it was like $6 or something Canadian, which for Americans is like, would be peanuts because our money is so much more. It's ridiculous. But yeah. So yeah, that's the brand that I've used there. Just gonna put a little bit more. The main difference I find between the two is that this one, the Flow Acrylic, dries with like a shine. And I do actually notice the paint does last more. Like I can use less paint and it gives me more coverage than the Crafters Acrylic. And the Crafters Acrylic dries with like a matte finish. And I find I have to use more paint. Okay, so I think right now I'm going to move on to like still like the thinnest brush, but one that's going to give me a bit more detail. I think I might use this one. This one is a number 2, and instead of it being like a flat edge, it has like a pointed edge to it. A pointed tip, I should say. It's not really an edge. All right, and then I want to go back and start adding some little more defined sweeps and strokes. I'm getting white to start, and I'm just going to put a few little lines of white down my middle. And I'm trying to be mindful. I don't want them to be just like one straight line. I don't want them to be all the same thickness or thinness. I want them to kind of be varied. Also, I want some to be shorter and some to be longer. So basically, I want it to be a little bit random. So try to watch yourself, because what I find I do when I'm doing these little lines is I tend to, they end up looking quite similar. So I have to be very conscious about not making them look similar. Okay, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to grab some yellow and then do the same. I'm also trying to have littler ones at the top. Not as many at the top. And when I put the yellow ones in, they can go into the white area a bit. That's fine. They can go a bit more into the yellow, the orangey, and the pink areas that are on there. That's totally fine too. This is just to start to give it a bit more of this like sweeping motion. Like there's movement or something in the light, you know? Okay, and then we're going to continue on the pink. Looks like I need some more. I'm going to bring it a little closer. Ooh, that's a little bit wet still. So now I'm putting like, that's what the lines look like. Hi, Amelia. So if you can see it too all. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. The difference between just like the flat blending and then the little strokes. What was I doing? Oh yes, I need to go with pink, but I need to add some more pink to my palette because I used it all up. Okay. Okay, so let's go with some little pink. I feel like, oh, it's getting some like blue in here, but that's okay. We can make it work. I'm just continuing to do little strokes, and we can just go on both sides. Okay, and then now let's go to, I think I might want to make it a little bit wider at the bottom, I feel like. Okay, let's go to the blue. I think I'm going to mix some purple actually. I'm going to mix some of my blue into my pink just so I can make some more defined like purpley streaks. Yeah, that's nicer. Okay, so this is taking like more time because you want to make sure that, you know, it can take as long as you want really. You can take like a lot of time if you really get into this. I like to do this kind of look too whenever I draw, like whenever I paint water. I like to put a lot of little like ripples and strokes in different colors, and I find it like really relaxing. I'm liking this purple color a lot. Okay, so now let's get the blue. Okay, and then now we're going to do the turquoise in just the same fashion. But I want it, I'm going to have the turquoise go over the darker blue. You can see it a little bit more. Okay. Alright, I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. Oh, Stephanie, I see a message from you. If you're writing the message, then you should be able to see me right now. I'm not sure I understand exactly. So the video, like we're doing a live right now, so I think if you want, you can rewind it, I think, or you might have to wait till it's done and then you can rewatch it from the start. If that's what you mean, I'm not 100% sure though. Okay. Just gonna like look at it a little bit from here for a moment. Okay. It's definitely like way more color than what I did on the original one. Like it's a lot more impactful. Okay, that's cool. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to start placing in some of my foreground. I might change it up a little bit because in our inspiration image, I had more room at the bottom and then I added kind of like some water to it. So I might skip on that potentially depending on how everything else lands, but we'll see how it goes. Right now I just want to build up some land so that I can put some trees on either side of my painting. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to just kind of clean off that one brush, and I'm going to grab my, I think I want to grab this one. It's a number 2 brush. It has like a beveled edge, but I just kind of want this size brush that's nice and flat. That's what I would prefer. So I'm going to get my black paint, and I can put my land wherever I want. So I think I want to have like kind of a mountain, I think on this side. I think so. Let me kind of come up here. And I want it to be a little bit like rocky. Like so. Okay, and I think my land in the back just kind of be like that. And then we're going to see it then kind of come up on this side, but not as high. Maybe like that, I think. And you can have your own variation to it. This is just the way I'm going to do this one right now. This land in the middle is going to be thinner, like it's only going to be maybe that much. I'm going to try to see if I can put some of that water that still lives here. And the rest of it's going to kind of come out that way. And this may, I think I'm going to have it cut down a little bit. Yeah. So there we go for now. And then we can fill the middle. So I'm just going to grab a bigger brush so I can be a little bit faster at putting the black paint on in the middle there. I need a little bit more black. There we go. No, this is on my page, Lisa's Painting Parties. That's where you're gonna find this video. Maybe you found it, I guess, maybe on just like a live video. Is that what you mean? Okay, so I'm just going to fill this in black. This is just my like mountain background, and this too. Okay. Okay, and the other things in the front here. So yeah, so the rest of it is going to be black in the front. So I am going to fill it, but I just wanted to do that first just to give myself like a line of where the rest of it is, because this is going to be black, but I am going to put a little bit of different color to make it look like water. I'm just trying to keep a slight line-ish there. And there will be like a rock or something here. And another landmass is going to like kind of stick out here, because that's where our animal is going to sit. We'll place that in a little bit better after. Okay, that's okay. We got that going. I have the idea of where I want it. Perfection. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let that. Do I want to let it dry fully? No, I don't think I do. I think I want to start putting in a little bit of color, Okay, I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm just going to grab my turquoise. And then when I'm grabbing the paint, I'm just using my brush like flat and like dragging it. So then again, it creates like a really thin line on that brush. And with this brush, I'm just going to now go with that turquoise color and define that land. Essentially, I'm going to go back and grab more because the black is going to take over each time. And just kind of put a little line just to define where that land meets the okay. Oh, that's weird. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put a few little like strokes over the black. Okay, and I also want this turquoise, I think, a bit on this side too, just to again divide up my land on this side. There's a few reasons why I'm doing this, because our animal is also going to be in a silhouette, so I want to be able to see the definition. So I'm adding a little bit of color in this water as if it's almost reflecting like what's going on in the sky. So I use the turquoise first. I'm going to use the dark blue now and just put a few little lines. And again, the black is still quite wet, so you might need to grab, like dip your paint back in your blue paint or whatever color you're adding on at the time, because it's going to, every time it goes on the canvas, it like picks up more black paint as you go. Okay, I'm going to get some yellow. Just put a few little lines in here too. Okay, and then I think I'm going to get a little bit of the pink and do that too. And just put a few little like kisses of it, just like in this water. And if you end up putting too much, because I feel like I did a little bit too much, I'm going to go back and get the black and do the same thing just in some of the edges, just to still make it seem like water that's reflecting everything. Okay, I think I'm happy with that for now. I think that looks like a pool of water. I'll bring that closer. It's a bit giving you a glare, but oh, there we go, no glare. So there you go. So I'm just putting a bit of color there to make it look like, oh, there's water. It's reflecting the sky. Beautiful. Cool. So I'm going to leave that for a moment, and we're going to do some trees. So when I did these trees, I used a fan brush, and I don't know, like I kind of don't really like them that much. I really dislike like all the extra little bits and bits that you can see, so I'm not going to do that. When I did these trees, I just used my paintbrush, and I had more control of where I wanted things, and I think I'm going to stick with this way. So that's how I'm going to do the trees on this painting, just because I don't really like the fan brush at all. So which one am I going to use? I think I'm going to go back to that beveled edge brush that I have. Just again, more for the size of it. Is this like, again, it's a size 2, so it's nice and small. So give me nice control. Now I'm going to start off with my big trees. Okay. And yeah, I do all my big trees here because then we'll be able to see them against this colorful background. So the big trees live somewhere in this area here. I'm going to just start by putting a black line of where we want that big trunk to live. Okay, so I got the line. And then I'm going to get my bevel edge, and I'm going to start just a little bit down from the top. And then I'm just going to go out and go out. And just kind of keep bringing it down and try to get wider as I come down. I need to add a little bit to the top. That's a little bit weird. That would enough. Okay, and sometimes the middle is a little bit wonkier. So I'm just like smushing my brush. Okay. And I want it to have more. Honestly, this trunk should be a little thicker as it comes down. Well, there we go. That's better. Okay, so I'm making it a little bit smushier and thicker near where the trunk is, and then thinner as it goes out to the edges. And some of them are trying to like point downwards just so that it looks a little bit more natural because the tree kind of looks like that. Okay, and do I want another tree? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if I want another tree this time. I think I might just have the one on that side. And then I think I'll put another few on this side. So again, with this, let's start with just putting like a line. Let's put a few lines as to where we want our trees on this side to be. And I'll do like 3. I don't know. We'll do like 3 decent sized ones. And then now let's and again, I'm just going to go back and forth and get like wider and like more dense near as we get to the bottom. But I'm not going all the way down to the bottom because often these trees don't have that many leaves on the bottom, branches and oop, that was yellow. That was still there. So I'm just going on and then smushing it kind of down. I'm getting black. I'm trying to speak. I am getting some black paint almost every time I do another branch. There we go. I think I'm happy with those trees. I haven't used any gray at all at the bottom of my trees. It's just, this was just, if you're talking about that part, it's just because I smushed it with the yellow that was behind it. But no, I'm not using any gray at all. It's just black. And then I'm just going, because some of them, I can see like the ends of the tree and I don't want to see them. So I'm just going to blur it in a bit with the black. It's just black paint. I don't like to see the line kind of like, it looks like the trunk's floating in the air. So it just, even if the tree is floating in the air, it's okay. I don't like to see where the line ends. Okay, so I think I might leave it like that. In the inspiration image, I did add a few little like hints of baby trees and stuff, and I put more trees in it. But I don't think I'm going to do it on this one. But you are welcome to do so depending on how your composition's looking and what you like and what you want to do. It's totally up to you. Okay, cool. And then where are we going next? Let me see. We can start putting our animal in, but I think first I'm going to add a little bit of highlights on like these rocks. Maybe that's what you meant in terms of the gray underneath the trees. Because yeah, I have kind of a bit of a highlight here and a bit of a highlight here just to show like that there's like some kind of like rock or land or something that's happening. So I'm going to put a little bit of white on my brush, and I do have a gray. And I'm going to just define this area a bit. But I want it to be like messy defined. I just want it to have a little bit of like a highlight to kind of look like there's like a rock or something, maybe like another little indent or something here. Okay. Don't know if I want it fully like that, but okay. Okay, there we go. Nice. All right, so now we have just a little bit of a definition of a land piece of some sort. I'm going to leave the animal for just a moment, and I'm going to add some stars in the sky. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush. I'm going to dip it in my paint, and then I'm just going to dot it on. Like that. And the more you dot, like the less paint there is left on the end, and then it's just like they're smaller and smaller, so like further and further away, little baby stars that are so far. And just put it in the black area because, well, you can put it anywhere you want. If you put it in other spots, it might look like it's snowing, which is totally fine if you want it to. And then I'm going to make one kind of like a shooting star, and I'm going to do that again by starting with white, and then I'm just going to drag it. I'm not going to drag very far, but like that. Yeah, there you go. I think I'm okay with that one. Okay, so I think I'm good with that. I'll just show that a little bit closer. There's like a little shooting star in the background. You can also add a moon if you want, or anything else you so desire. Okay. And then now I'm going to add my animal. So I don't know if I even want to add animal on this one, to be honest. I really like kind of the way it looks as it is. I don't know if it's going to be too crowded. Let me think. Maybe we'll do something different. Because in the inspiration image, there's no space, and I have this like kind of like a dog, wolf type animal. And I'm not sure if I want to do that with a smaller one, to be honest. So if you are interested in doing it like this, I can hold it like closer and walk through. So whenever I paint an animal, I usually start again with the basic line shape, like where's the middle of whatever I'm doing. So I would put a black thin line, kind of a curved line as to where I would want from like the head to the butt. And then I would start to build out the back leg, the body, and then go up to the head and do circles and kind of just do it like in circles. So start there, there, and then do a circle there. That's how I would go from there. Once you have like those shapes, then I would just start to build that out to give it a snout and the ear, to have the tail, and then to come down and have the legs. So that's how I would go about building that. So hopefully that's helpful for anyone who's doing that. And then once it's dry, essentially, then you want to get your thin brush with white paint. You could do a little bit of light gray instead. I did it when the paint was still a bit wet, which is why it comes out gray. And then you just do like a slight highlight on the top, the bottom, and like on the tail, just to define like where some of the parts are. That's how I would go about recreating that if that is something that you would like to do. Okay? Like I said, I don't think I am going to do it because I feel like it's a bit crowded, and I think if I add it, it might just be a little bit too much. So I think I'm actually going to call it complete I might still like, there's still a bit more of these swoops that I would kind of like to define a bit more. That'd be the only thing I think I would probably want to change. But other than that, I think I'm pretty happy with it. So I think I'm going to say that I'm done for this evening. So I hope that everyone enjoyed painting along with me. And if you did, please take a picture of what you've painted and share it, because I would love to see your creations, and so would everyone else that is in the community here. Like I said, so the first Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll do a free live paint event here. If you aren't able to watch it, it's always available to you. It's free on my YouTube channel and also under the videos tab on my Facebook page. And if you're looking for someone to host a virtual or in-person paint party, if you're in the Toronto area, that is, then please reach out to me. You can message me through Facebook, or my website is there too, so you can take a look and check it out. And I think that's about it. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night, great month, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, paint partiers. Take care. Have a good night.